Hello everyone, how are you? Nice to see everyone. Thank you for coming out, first of all. Very grateful. If you don't know who I am, my name is Christopher Witecki. I call myself the Sensei to Serious Joy. I have been helping people, life coaching people into their happiness and their heart for over 20 years now, and starting to get the hang of it. I'm also an astrologer. Pardon me holding this, but these yoga clothes here, they don't really hold mics very well. They really don't, but they're comfy. So I'm up here just to kind of give people a little bit of an idea. I also want to say hi to all of my Facebook people out there. I saw Judy Lesnar on there. I saw some of our peeps. Hi. Very grateful. We have a very large viewing audience, and we're grateful for that too. Well, I'm an astrologer, and I just want to kind of lay out. First of all, has everyone noticed that things seem to be heating up to a more tense point in the world? Have you noticed? And it's, astrologically, we look at astrology really as conscious cycles. Human beings go through conscious cycles. And we all know this, right? We've talked about this, and I've talked about this before. I'm going to repeat just a little bit of what I've said before, just to catch everyone up. But looking at the cycles and circles, which we use the planets to count the cycles and circles because of the speed at which they move, we can determine eons and large legacies. Well, things are heating up because the collective conscious has reached a point where we've come to a head with many of the key conscious issues that we have. One of the conscious issues that's most apparent, which is coming to a head this year and into next year, has to do with the way we govern ourselves. How we 1700s with the American Revolution and the French Revolution and whatnot. So this is actually, for the human collective conscious, this is a very big deal. And although it may look like politics as always, what appears to be happening is a fight for power, right? We're seeing the world start to all rise up, and we're seeing it everywhere. We're seeing it in Greece when the banks fell. We're seeing it in Afghanistan still. We're seeing it in Syria, right? Even Iranians are rising up and having issues with. This isn't just the United States, but the United States will probably own the broadcast rights, right, to whatever happens, and probably be the one that sort of initiates whatever this change is going to be. We might fire the first shot, I'm afraid to say. So what I want to bring up is that we have these cycles and circles coming up, and as a citizen of the earth, I believe our job is to hold space for where the world ought to go. And what's different about this particular cycle is we have the internet, we have each other, we have a lot of ways of coming together and communicating truth. So we're in a very powerful position this time as humans kind of come to this full circle, this re-evolution as I call it. And I'm bringing it up today because I really think this is our last Love Fest for this year. And Melissa and I wanted to do this because we want to kind of set in motion some of these ideas before shift hit the fan. Amen. So I just want to talk a couple minutes. So one of the big cycles that we're up for is deciding how we are to self-govern. That's a big decision. Another big decision that's up for is our morals. What do we believe in as far as a higher power? Do we believe in a higher power? Do we believe in a soul or not? Because if we believe in a soul, it really does change everything. And it's not that we should have a religious fight or whatever on earth, but it's one of these, we've come to a point where we need to decide whether we believe we are all one organism with separate aspects of uniqueness, or if we truly believe we are separate from each other or not. So that's one of the big questions that's up as well, is what are our morals? What do we believe? The other big question that's up is our values. What do we truly value in life? So what's interesting about this moment is that we have these three questions coming up at the exact same time. They've come up at different times in American and world history. How should we govern ourselves was the 1700s. What is our moral code was the Civil War. And what are our values was World War II. And so we happen to be at this point where we're going to answer all three of these questions at the same time. And this is the big galactic shift that many people have prophesized would happen. I believe we're all fully aware it's going to happen. It's why I've been born. I've honestly been waiting for this moment my entire life, to be honest. Where it starts to get interesting. And if you want to get technical, I've been waiting for like 5,000 years, I think. like, I've been pushing for this for a long time. So it's a very exciting time. And the question is, how do we get through this moment? And that's what I want to give a little vision of. The answer, honestly, is love. It's not corny. It is a state of awareness. It is spirit incarnate. The heart, when you're in your heart, you really can't hurt someone. Try it. Try laughing and then go do something mean to someone. You're just not going to have it in you. It's built this way in our own consciousness. So I believe in the next 6 weeks, just to give you a little bit of a timeline, in the next 6 weeks, I think shift is going to hit the fan. I think it's already happening with a traitor in the White House and propaganda machines going 24 hours a day. And the key is we have to not be taken away with these emotions. We have to not be taken away with our anger and our thoughts. The job is really to stay in your heart. That's the job. That's the work. And even if you're at home watching, it's still your job, because you are a human spiritual battery putting out vibrational waves, whether you're aware of it or not. You have a vote, whether you go out and vote or not. Your opinion matters, and what matters turns into matter. So what we want to do is stay in our hearts as things get a little funky here in the next 6 weeks. Now, in mid-October, a strange event called a Venus retrograde will happen. This happens every 2 years or so in human consciousness. It is usually a time when we are reconsidering what we open up to. So I kind of have the feeling that we're going to have a lot of truth and weird stuff come out in the next 4 to 5 weeks, okay, which forces everyone to have to open up to something they may not have wanted to open up to before, such as opening up to war, opening up to a wall on the Mexico border, you know what I mean, like opening up to certain things. And the key to opening, I just want to say, and just to give you the timeline, we're going to be kind of in confusion from mid-October until right after the midterm elections. Not kidding. That's the astrology. And I feel that right after the midterm elections, whatever choices we make at that point begin to put the balls of fate in motion. They start rolling in motion. So technically speaking, you've got to, if you can, hold love in your heart from this November until 2023. And I'm not kidding. That's how long this transition is. I don't want to scare anyone, because I honestly don't believe the light is supposed to lose this time. From what I've heard and from what I've intuited, the plan is the earth is to go back to the light, is to go back to joy. We're to snuff out fear. We're to snuff out these things. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. By the way, today was a new moon, so coming here created a powerful intention in your life, just so you know. A very powerful intention that is going to carry on. So you've already done what you can. But I think, as you know, we saw in the last election when President Trump, we saw how ugly Facebook got. We saw how ugly Twitter got. We saw how everyone just like went straight to the dark, right? And I think this time I think we owe it to ourselves to stay in our heart, and let's try responding loving. Let's try putting love back out there this time when it happens, because I can guarantee you, I can see the media. They are stoking the fire, getting people who are not connected to their hearts really upset, really angry, really afraid. And honestly, the only way to diffuse that is being in your heart. In fact, if you see two people fighting and you just walk up smiling to them, they have a hard time fighting. It's a hard time fighting when they're No? You don't have a clue? Nope. Oh God, we're done for. We're not going to make this transition. Sorry for all the breath. How to stay in their heart. Like, most people feel their heart on their birthday. You know what I mean? Like when they look good in their bathing suit. Like there's only a few moments where you actually, in modern life, come into our heart. Oh, we have second row here. 100% true. Being grateful, yes. Gratitude is actually the attitude. I would say gratitude, if I could polish that just a little bit, I would say once you're in your heart, gratitude is the way to go. Like you want to hold that grateful note. I have found that a lot of people, when shit's hitting the fan, pardon the expression, they have a hard time being grateful. That's been my experience. I've had a hard time. Like, don't tell me to fucking be grateful right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like you did, but you're right. I mean, so I think, honestly, what we don't realize is our heart really wants one thing, to love. And the simplicity of staying in your heart is simply directing yourself deliberately into loving situations, like this one, right? I'm serious. Surrounding yourself with love. The most important thing, though, is to love yourself, is what I was going to. And that's something that we were never taught in school. We are never taught anywhere. If anything, we were told to not love ourselves, not shine out, not go too far. But the reality is love is an action. And I believe the way to stay in your heart is to love yourself, which means you kind of need to, instead of going to the gym, maybe you should schedule something loving for yourself once a day, if you can. Consider it as a meal. Think of it as exercise. And the thing is you're going to enjoy it, which is crazy. But to hold the love vibration means we have to consciously seek out comedies instead of murder mysteries. We have to consciously hang out with our friends and the people we love like this and reinforce this. We have to take action for ourselves and love ourselves. And gratitude is also the attitude, I believe. Being grateful for what you have will immediately return you to a humble position with spirit, and it also puts you in the position of opening. So even when I'm training psychics, I say the tone to go into to listen is gratitude. That's what opens it up. So I believe that we all need to try to do something or plan something that is joyful. If you can get on board some sort of a joyful train, like this is one of them that we've started, but I highly recommend that we do, because I feel that we are going to be facing some of the most important questions in our lifetime and perhaps in the history of humanity. Honestly, not to be too heavy, but I think it is. And I believe that these choices must be made from the heart. And the work is to stay in the heart when everyone else is freaking out. So we may look a little crazy, but we'll... I don't know if you know what it is. It is creativity. How many people are creative here? Oh, that's wonderful. Because creativity comes directly from the heart. So if you have some sort of creative passion, whether it's cross-knitting or collecting baseball cards or anything that's creative, just having that hobby going right now is going to keep you from falling into any of the negativity or any of the brainwashing. Just having a creative project, it'll keep you in the creative flow. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much time, but I did kind of want to segue to Jennifer Dove. She's our next guest. She's out of Boulder, and she is going to help us with our creativity. So thank you all for your time. I'll be mingling around, and we'll see you after.